Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure wave. Here we have KANG the Conqueror. And this is a figure that I was super excited for, so that's why this review is going to be super disappointing, because in truth, it's really not that good of a figure, and it's just like, god damn it. I thought it was going to be good. I hoped it was going to be good. And there's just some weird things. Like aesthetically, from far away, the figure looks great. Then you start looking up closer, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. So anyway, so Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure. So the box actually says it's street dated for, what does it say on there? February 15th, 2023. I think that was around the release date of the movie, but it's just now hitting, and then pre-orders all list a July release. The reason why the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania figures did not come out around the time of the movie and Guardians of the Galaxy figures actually hit first is because Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was originally supposed to release in theaters in July, but then got pushed up when Marvel's got pushed back, so then the merchandise couldn't release in stores to kind of match the release window of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And the movie didn't really do too well, and then Jonathan Majors is you know, a scumbag now because he assaulted a woman. He denies it. They say there's video showing that he's innocent. Nobody's seen the video. I don't think the charges have been dropped. So it's just kind of all kind of craziness going on. Jonathan Majors may get recast as KANG the Conqueror, but for now we have this figure of KANG the Conqueror, and we'll go through it. I'm kind of going over the list a little bit differently. I wanted to start off with KANG the Conqueror because I think he's the one most people are going to be excited for, and then I'm going to jump right into the normal order of things. Ant-Man will be next, then the Wasp, the Ultron, Egghead, Crossfire, Future Ant-Man, and then finish off with the Cassie Lang Build-A-Figure. Here you can see we actually have two heads for Cassie Lang. We have the unmasked head sculpt, which looks really, really good. Like, really, really good. I mean, look at how good that looks. That is pretty crazy how good that looks there. And then we also get a helmeted look, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. But one thing that's weird is why is it so flat in the back like that? It just really throws me off. But those two head sculpts looks really good, and KANG does come with an alternate set of hands here. So he kind of has a little bit more of a wide open grip hand there, and then he kind of has two fingers out here, and then a fist on his right hand, and then a standard holding hand there for his left. Yeah, and then I got my set from Entertainment Earth. They did get some cases in and shipped out some of the pre-orders for some folks. You'll see, you know, a lot of eBay sellers have gotten it, and then local comic shops, things like that. So they're starting to hit. I don't know when you'll start to see them in stores. Maybe soon, maybe not. Maybe more so around the July time. We'll see. But enough of that. Let's get in for a closer look at the KANG the Conqueror figure. And again, prepare yourself for some disappointment, because man, there's just some weird things going on here that just aren't very good. Okay, so here is an up-close look at the KANG the Conqueror head sculpt. Looks pretty good. I could see some Jonathan Majors likeness in there. I don't think it's as good as the He Who Remains likeness, and as you can see, the heads are like different in size in terms of width. I feel like they made his head a little bit too narrow on the KANG the Conqueror figure. Size-wise, I don't know that... I guess it kind of lines up. I mean, I could see the likeness a little bit, and, you know, obviously, of course, you know, it's going to be a little different because he has that shielding, energy shield or whatever it is that's kind of covering his face. But it does look pretty good. I would have really, really liked to have gotten a KANG Nathaniel Richards head sculpt. You know, we have the He Who Remains, but he has a beard in this one in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. He did not, and he had the, you know, the lines, the scars on there, so we don't have a proper head sculpt, unfortunately. But I want to talk about the good stuff of this figure. This figure is like super detailed with texturing, detailing in the sculpt and all kinds of stuff on there. From far away, the figure just looks really, really good. But look at all the textured detail throughout the suit. There's a lot going on, which is pretty crazy. Like, and you don't want to discount that. But at the same time, there's weird stuff that I really, really feel like I really need to point out. Oh, I didn't notice that little blue circle there. A little bit of over purple paint on there. But look at the cape. Look at the detail and the texture in there. Doesn't that just look awesome? Purple lines in there. Looks really good. And you can see it's definitely got a layered look to the back. Even on the back of the figure, a little bit of paint and stuff and all kind of textured detail. just looks really, really good throughout. But let's talk about the bad. We got to talk about the bad. Notice the design of his suit. This severely limits how much movement you get in this arm. So I know we would normally talk about it in articulation, but we're going to talk about it now. That's as far out as you can get the arm. There's just no way. There's just no way to do it the way it's designed and set up. And that's part of just the design of his suit. I don't know what other way they could have done it, but it sucks. The next thing is this ball joint waist. Ball joint waist, yay, cool. But look how ugly that breakup in the sculpt is. Like when you bend that back, why do we see like this massive, huge gap? And that's just really, 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 really ugly. Like if you lean him forward, you know, that's not so bad. But then if you go to the side a little bit, well, that looks weird. You go to the other side, well, that looks weird. So it just kind of sucks from that aspect. Like why do we have this firm cut in there? Couldn't they just like round it down in there? I have no idea. I'm not a toy engineer. Maybe I'm, you know, talking out my ass and there's no better way to do that. I would hope that there would be though, and that is really disappointing. Jonathan Majors saw his action figure on one of the late night shows. I'm trying to think if it was the late show with Stephen Colbert or which show it was, but he had mentioned the biceps looked a little small. The biceps are crazy small. The same with his legs. I don't know how muscular his legs and stuff are. I don't know how much, you know, leg day time he puts in the gym. But bicep wise, the dude is ripped, right? These arms ain't it, and they feel a little bit small. The figure overall actually feels a little bit small, which is unfortunate. That I can look past. That's no big deal. But this ball joint waist is just, I think, like just so ugly and unforgivable. Like, why does it have to look that ugly? And I don't know. You know, again, I'm not a toy designer. I can't speak to it, but to me, it doesn't look good. When you have a figure from far away, it looks really good. Like even look at this angle of the Kang head sculpt. That I totally see Jonathan Majors there, and I think it looks really damn awesome. But God, that torso, you know, just really, really throws me off. But you know, lots of other cool things like some nice metallic purple with some dark greens in there. The boots, the detailing, the paint, it all looks really good. It's just that torso really kills it for me. And that sucks because when you move it around, it just looks so bad. One thing I do want to try, and I think somebody's already posted pictures of this. If we pop this King head off, can we get the He Who Remains Jonathan Majors head on there? I believe we can. I don't think that's an issue. Yes, we can, but damn, it sits high and doesn't look good. Yeah, that looks really bad. So those folks that have like a Dremel and know how to do that type of stuff will have no problem adjusting this head sculpt to fit lower down on the peg and make it look normal. And I think if it were lower, it would look pretty good. You know, it's not exact to the movie, but you know, it's close enough. So that's a little unfortunate. Let's throw this head on He Who Remains, you know, and that could work too. You know, it fits on there, but you know, that's not really what we have going on. So let's pop this back on there. And let's go ahead and go over the articulation. I know we already talked a little about bits and pieces here and there, but let's see the overall articulation. Okay. Kang the Conqueror. The head is on a dumbbell joint, so he's not going to get the most movement down. He's not going to get the most movement up, so that's as much up as he can do. Full rotation in that head sculpt, and then you can get some really good pivot going on there as well. Again, the shoulders, it's like nothing. I mean, you're only going to get them to go that much, so not a full rotation or anything like that. You know, go back a little bit, come forward a little bit. That's it. There is a upper bicep swivel in there though, which is cool. Double jointed elbow. It is pinless, so you get that much bend there at the elbow. Wrists swivel and they do hinge. They all have the standard horizontal hinge on there. Again, ball joint at the waist, so he could pivot and tilt to his right that much. He could tilt to his left that much. Going back is actually quite a bit, but again, you can see all kinds of gap and stuff, and the cape really kind of gets in the way. Coming forward though, it almost, like that's forward, it feels like it should work, but it feels like it almost like slides back instead of like leaning forward, if that makes any sense. Like, I think you have to have it in hand to really get a sense of what it's doing, because it's really not, if you look, it doesn't really look like it's leaning forward other than just kind of scooting back, which is, you know, kind of weird on there. And then you do get a swivel at that ball joint waist. You have this skirt piece that does have some cuts in the side to allow for some movement, as you can see there. So you can get the legs to go out that far apart, which is good. But kicking forward, of course, is going to be limited, because even with those slits, it doesn't allow for the movement coming forward. So you're really not going to get a whole lot going on in there. Leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed pinless knee, which doesn't give you all that much bend. Hold on. Yeah, you get that much bend there at the knee, and it's just kind of, the way they do the bend seems kind of weird. Like, it's just, I don't know. He's got really thin legs too. It just kind of seems weird. So it's just not the prettiest thing. I guess this doesn't look bad, but it's just the way, I don't know. I just think the leg is really skinny, so it looks funny to me. Maybe that's the problem. There is no boot swivel. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge up ever so slightly, ankle pivot, and pegals at the bottom of the feet. So that is the articulation for Kang the Conqueror. Again, I am super disappointed with that ball joint waist. I was hoping for better, and just not this weird like cut to where they stopped the design sculpt of it. It's just really weird. And then you could just see it standing there, you could really see the gap in there. It's just really noticeable in hand, unfortunately, and I really just wish that wasn't the case. Okay, so looking at He Who Remains and Kang the Conqueror and the comic Kang the Conqueror figure all side by side, which makes this Kang the Conqueror figure just look so undersized. Now, I get that He Who Remains here is wearing this big like trench coat type thing, making the figure look a lot bulkier than it truly is. Yes, the problem is it just looks weird then when you see the two together. Like this, if he's supposed to be wearing this heavy duty ass armor, right, and he's a big dude, he's ripped, he's got muscles on top of muscles. When we look at this figure, it just looks so undersized and so small, if that makes sense. Like, if he was a little bit bulkier, like, look at this comic Kang figure. It's not, like, super bulky or muscly or anything, but it's just got a bigger build to it and around the same height. Why couldn't this Kang figure have done that? And that's where I'm really kind of, disappointed also. So the waist ball and then just the size of the figure itself is just a little disappointing for such a figure that I think, when it first was announced, I was like, oh, hell yeah, it's going to be awesome. Definitely going to be the figure in the wave that everybody's going to want. And I don't know so much now, and especially with what's going on with Jonathan Majors in the news, because if it's true, he's a piece of shit, right? If it's not true, it sucks. Why, he's being dropped by his representation and agency, his agent and management, all this and that. So that tells me that there has to be some truth to it. So get rid of Jonathan Majors, bring in another actor. It is what it is. It sucks. He was a good actor, but a bad person, right? So it's just one of those things. I think all those things accumulating. I don't know that this figure is really going to be as hyped up as people thought it would be, or at least that I thought it would be, that people would want it. I don't know. It's still a very good looking figure, but from an action figure standpoint, there's just a lot of negative things to it. And I hate being so negative on figures because I love MCU figures. I want more. I want every character that's in a movie or Disney Plus series. I want every character in action figure form. I also want them to be good action figures, though, and this one, for me, just isn't quite there. It's not a total loss because, again, it looks really good. The sculpted, textured detail throughout the figure is fantastic. The paintwork on there is really good. That metallic purple over the green in certain spots, it's done really, really nice. So I don't want, the bad things to completely overshadow the really good things going on here. It's just those bad things are just really, really big, unfortunately. But you guys let me know down in the comments below. What do you think of this Kang the Conqueror figure after, taking a look at it that I've showed you here? Are you still picking it up? Are you going to pass on it? And then what do you think of the Jonathan Majors situation right now? Do you think they should just recast, move on? I'm leaning towards that, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. All of that, whether you're getting the figure, not getting the figure, and your thoughts. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU collective. And as always, thank you for watching.